Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
And I inhale. I did inhale.
She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Gov candidate Addul infiltrates MSNBC focus group on mixed races voters to trash Kamala. I didn't realize this. If you've been following this channel, you realize I posted this short clip before, but what I realized after is extremely concerning. A pro-Trump Republican candidate for Congress infiltrated an MSNBC focus group of mixed-race voters to slam Kamala. Addul, a candidate for North Carolina 12th Congressional District and a host of a conservative podcast, appeared alongside 5 others in a segment with MSNBC host Rogan.
What I pointed out in that debate stage in the 2020 campaign was her hypocrisy. It was how she was saying one thing and doing another, how she was prosecuting people for smoking marijuana and laughing about it when she was asked about it on a radio show. And I think this goes to the heart of many of these different issues that we're seeing now that Kamala Harris is trying to hide from voters, is how she says her position is one thing, but her actions and her record show exactly the opposite. And you can point to that on issues related to the economy, issues related to freedom of speech. She says she stands for freedom of speech, and yet, as we've seen time and time again, her and Joe Biden have taken actions both directly and indirectly to censor free speech. Most recently, I can point to my own experience of this, of how the Harris-Biden administration have added me to a secret domestic terror watch list the very day after Kamala Harris was endorsed by Joe Biden, and I was on TV and warning the American people about what I saw as the dangers of a Kamala Harris presidency, taking action that was clearly political retaliation. They've done this to a lot of different people, which points to how dangerous it is to have people in power so willing to abuse that power to go after political opponents.
Yes, Tulsi Gabbard is doing the right thing, calling this out on CNN, though they are not comfortable with the fact that he is just saying the truth on what they are doing. When you take a look at Tulsi Gabbard way back debating Kamala, we saw what she did, trash her like never before. Reason you see her coming out to endorse Trump and working with Trump to prepare for this debate put Libras into panic. We saw recently Kamala coming out to say, oh, we want microphones to be on. So to provoke Trump to say some ridiculous things so the media can carry on, and ABC refused that. We will continue to follow through with the old rules.
Vice President Harris's
Thanks,
campaign
Dana.
manager released a memo this morning saying they expect former President Trump to be a, quote, formidable opponent on the debate stage. Do you think Kamala Harris will be a formidable opponent as well? And how is the former president preparing to debate her?
Yeah, I think Kamala Harris has a lot of experience. She is not to be underestimated. President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have very different records. This is a unique situation where we have 2 candidates who have served at the highest offices in the land. President Trump, 4 years as president. Kamala Harris, now almost 4 years as vice president, working alongside President Biden. And so this will be an opportunity for voters to look at and compare and contrast those records. If I can be helpful to President Trump in any way, it really is just in sharing the experience that I had with her on that debate stage in 2020, and frankly, helping to point out some ways that Kamala Harris has already shown that she is trying to move away from her record, move away from her positions, and how that contradicts the positions and statements that she is making now that she is the Democratic nominee.
And it is a remarkable situation in that you are a Democrat who debated her in a Democratic primary, and now you are helping the Republican nominee to debate her. And on that, I remember in 2020, you attacked Harris for being too aggressive as a prosecutor, which is the opposite from what Donald Trump is saying about her as weak on crime. So which is it?
What I pointed out in that debate stage in the 2020 campaign was her hypocrisy. It was how she was saying one thing and doing another, how she was prosecuting people for smoking marijuana and laughing about it when she was asked about it on a radio.
Take a look at this tweet. Trump campaign has accepted these rules per Tuesday email to ABC review by the Post. Kamala campaign has not yet accepted this rule as they seek to unmute the microphones for the entire debate. This is Kamala saying this. Donald Trump is surrendering to his advisors who won't allow him to debate with a live microphone if his own team doesn't have a confidence in him. The American people definitely can. We are running for president of the United States. Let's debate in a transparent way with the microphones on the whole time. That is Kamala putting this out. When it was Biden, this people said, oh, no microphone. They set the rules. Trump was like, oh, okay, I will go by the rules. Now, let's follow through the rules. Kamala came in because she's planning to interrupt Trump like she did to Mike Pence here, thinking that will work. Let's follow the same rule. Now she wants to back out, panicking.
I'm sorry, I am so tired of the tens of thousands of just hard fours online being like, I'm voting for her because he's going to strip all of our rights away as a woman. I can do that as a mom and a dad. What rights, babe? What rights? He was already president, and how many rights did you lose? 0. He's trying to protect women's rights. What do you think it is when we have men in women's sports? We have men in our personal spaces. What do you think it is when dangerous men come over the border? That's what protecting women and children is. Oh, he already said he's not going to do a nationwide abortion ban. He's not going to do it. If anything, it's going to be state by state the way it has been. And guess what? If a state, 90% of people in a state want something, I think that state should have it, even if I don't agree with it. If you don't like it, move to another state. It's very simple. Stop with the propaganda. This is why people make fun of women. Use your brain. Use your brain, babe.
I noticed something during this interview with Tulsi Gabbard. When Tulsi Gabbard started calling out this lady for who they are, trying to quote how the Biden-Harris administration is putting Tulsi Gabbard in a terror watch list, they decided to get away from their discussions to focus on things we really care less about. That is to tell you one thing with the mainstream media. This lady, we saw what she did during the first interview with Kamala, asking softball questions. When you compare Jennifer and Kamala interview, you can see two different scenarios. She was very hard on Jennifer. With Kamala, the lady was soft. That is to tell you how these people behave on a daily basis, which to me is clearly insane.
Come on, man, get us to the Super Bowl, bro.
Speech from Michelle.
Damn, Kamala.
Kamala Harris is in office right now and has not tried to do anything about the border, has not tried to not tax people on tips.
For some people, it's already started.
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris,
They say and they disappear.
The money in politics is so extraordinary, which is something that should have never been allowed to happen.
Much more happens at the DNC.
I do think there's something.
The Republican...
A big theme here.
What do you think about the
relic of the Biden?
They had a guy